What's going on, everybody? Jason here, and today I've got the last piece to the puzzle, and it is the 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Laredo. And if you haven't seen my videos on all the other trims for the Grand Cherokee L, I will link the playlist above, so be sure to check it out and binge watch and do whatever you need to do. Also, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers, and it's super exciting just to see how the channel has grown with the help of you guys. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and let's get the channel to 1,000. So this way I can bring you better and better vehicles to review. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, I appreciate you. So let's jump right into this 2021 Grand Cherokee L Laredo. Let's take a look at the trims and what's available, what you can get. As for the trims that you can get, it's very traditional to the Grand Cherokee lineup. You can get the Laredo, which obviously you're looking at. You can get the Altitude, Limited, Overland, Summit, and Summit Reserve. Now, with each of those trim levels, you do get certain types of options and equipment and features and all of that. And the one thing that I like that they did about the Grand Cherokee Ls is the safety features. Even though this is just a Laredo, you still have a ton of safety features that you would typically have to pay a premium for or get the optional upgrade for. And these ones come standard with things like active lane management system, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, blind spot rear cross path detection, full speed forward collision warning, park sense rear park assist, advanced brake assist, and pedestrian/cyclist emergency braking. And that is a lot of safety features packed into this vehicle. Now, let's start off in the front and take a look on what's going on in front of this Laredo. And of course, all the Grand Cherokee Ls look exactly the same from the front. You'll have some small cosmetic changes depending on the trim level that you choose. For example, this one has chrome everywhere, whereas the Altitude, if you were to get it, it'll be obviously all blacked out. But this one, obviously, you can see you still get that nice 7-slot iconic Jeep grille with the chrome accents and then the black interior bezeling and all of that. And near the bottom, you get this nice chrome strip that goes all the way along. But if you were to go with something like a Summit, it would be more of a matte finish. Also, you can't forget about these beautiful, beautiful new headlights that they've made. These are LED lights. However, on some of the trims, you'll notice that you get the amber strip at the top rather than the white one. So just keep that in mind. But regardless of that, these lights just look absolutely beautiful. Now, if you look at the bottom, the Laredo or the Altitude do not come with fog lights, which I wish they kind of had even as an extra added option if it wasn't standard. It would be nice to pick and choose from. And if you take a look at the Grand Cherokee L Laredo from the side, again, it looks exactly the same as the other trims. But like I mentioned, it'll be just minor differences from the exterior depending on the trim that you choose. So like I was mentioning, this one has chrome everywhere. So even around the windows, you do get all of that chrome up top. And then of course your Grand Cherokee badging at the side is chrome as well. As for the wheels, these are 18-inch aluminum wheels, which are standard and you can't upgrade or anything like that. This is what you will be getting. And as for your side mirrors, these are gloss black mirrors. Up top, you do have your roof rails. Of course, you've got that kind of a gloss black finish along with a aluminum chrome finish, which also looks nice as well. On these ones, you get the body color roof, but if you were to go for something like a Summit Reserve, you have the option of getting a black roof, which does look really nice depending on the color you choose. And also, like you may have noticed, you also get obviously the body color door handles. Also, these door handles, they have these little lines that you can see. Now, these are for unlocking and locking your vehicle. The cool thing is, all 4 door handles have this, so you can do it from any door handle. As for what the key looks like for the Grand Cherokee L, it's exactly for whichever trim that you choose. You've got your unlock, lock button, remote start, your power tailgate, panic button, and the key just looks really, really nice. On the rear, you've just got a nice Jeep logo, and that's pretty much it. And the Laredo does come with the Quadra-Track 1 4x4 system. So unfortunately, if you're looking to get like air ride and all of that, you're not going to get it in this trim. You're going to have to bump it up to like a different trim level. And as you start moving towards the rear of the vehicle, you can see that chrome around the windows I was talking about. It kind of flows in very nicely to the rear and all along the vehicle. It just has the nice symmetry. Of course, at the back as well, these beautiful, beautiful LED lights that they did on the Grand Cherokee Ls just look absolutely beautiful. They're nice and thin and it just looked very, very aesthetically pleasing. And over at the top, you have this kind of like a spoiler that comes over the rear glass. It just looks really nice and it just flows with the whole vehicle. And of course, you've got the chrome Jeep badging and then the L for Grand Cherokee L badging, 4x4 badging also. And also you have the Laredo badging as well in the rear. Also, you can see near the bottom, you do have your rear park sensors. So very convenient, of course, and very helpful along with all the safety features that this vehicle comes with. Again, you have more of that chrome, that nice little strip there. Underneath that middle section, you can actually take that out and it'll have your tow package and all of that stuff. And hidden away underneath the bumper is your dual exhaust. Now, one of the packages that you are required to get with the Laredo is the Luxury Tech Group, which will give you a remote start. And when we go on the inside, I'll show you, it gives you your third row USB charging ports, rain sensing wipers, 115 volt auxiliary power outlet, wireless charging pad, which I'll show you inside, and of course your power lift gate, which is very convenient. Now, as we enter into the rear, if you've seen the other Grand Cherokee L trim levels, you can tell it's exactly the same as the other ones, of course. And you do have a decent amount of room back here, even with the third row, not folded down. So you got a ton of room in the back, and if you do need extra room, obviously you can fold down your third row or even your second row as well if you need that extra room. But the only other things that you've got back here, of course, is your 12 volt adapter plug back here, and then of course your power tailgate button. But if you were to get, let's say, a Summit or a Summit Reserve or even an Overland, you can have your second and third row power folding seats, which you'll have the buttons in the back if you've seen my other videos. But because it's a Laredo, you're not going to have that, so you're going to have to do it manually. And if we go ahead and lift up this little section at the bottom here, you've got a little bit more room to put small little items and just tuck them away. And in that little section, you do have your roadside kit and all of that. Now, as we head into the rear of the vehicle, you can see the door panel is pretty much identical to every other trim, of course, so why wouldn't it be? And one thing that does stick out to me on this, and it looks really nice actually, is the trim around the door handle. And you'll notice this along the whole vehicle interior. Even in the front, it just has that nice shiny feel to it, smooth feel to it. It's really premium looking and really nice, of course. Of course, you've got the leather in the middle section there, and then you've got your standard 6-speaker system in this. So you only get the 6 speakers. You cannot upgrade to the Macintosh or any of that sort. At the bottom, you do have some room for cup holders and some storage. As for the seats, of course, you can only get the Laredo in cloth seats, of course. If you want to get leather or anything like that, you're going to have to go up a trim or two. But that's what you get. But even though these are cloth seats, they're very comfortable, just like the rest of, the Grand Cherokee L trims, even with the leather. So these are also comfortable. So don't think because they're cloth seats, they're not comfortable. And of course, this one has the full third person center seat as well. Or you can get the 2 captain chairs and then the center will be empty. And you just have some storage and stuff like that. But this, even if you have a big family, you can just take full advantage of it. And if you go ahead and fold down the center handrest there, of course, in there you do have your 2 cup holders. And in terms of how to get into the rear, there are 2 ways to get into the rear. Number one is the little handle by the headrest. You pull that latch up and then the whole seat just comes forward. Or you can use the little lever at the bottom left hand side to use that, and then you use the actual lever by the headrest to pull the whole seat up, and then you can have access to your third row. And as for your third row, again, this is very comfy. Even though it may look a little small on camera, this is comfortable. Now, of course, this is meant for a little bit of smaller people. You can't have like a 7-foot person sit back here and be very comfortable. You definitely can fit them in there, but they won't be as comfortable. Other than that, like I mentioned, you do get your USB ports back here on both sides, which is nice, and you get cup holders on both sides, of course. So Jeep has not forgotten about the third row people. Now, in terms of behind the passenger and driver seat, you do have that meshing, of course, for your map pockets. You can have small little items tucked away in there. And in the second row, you also get your digital climate control for the rear people, and this can also be controlled from the front touchscreen, which I'll show you. You've got your venting back here, and then you've got, like I mentioned, a 115 volt plug back here and more USB ports, normal and type C. So a lot of USB ports throughout the whole Grand Cherokee L. Now, if we go into the front, again, it's exactly like the rear, and you can see that nice trim around the door handle. You can see how it pops, and it just looks really nice, of course. In the center, again, you've got more leather, and then your window controls, side mirror controls. Near the bottom, you've got your speaker and then more storage space at the bottom there. As for the front, like I mentioned, you can only get the Laredo in cloth seats. Now, even though it's cloth seats, it still looks nice, and it has that nice white stitching that goes all around, kind of to break out that contrast. And as for the driver's side, it is power adjustable, whereas the passenger side is manual adjustable. And in the front, at the bottom, of course, just your traditional foot pedals, nothing too fancy. Above that, you've got your hood latch release, and then right above that, you've got your electronic parking brake. Above all of that, you've got your lighting controls for the front, and then your dimmers right next to it. As for your steering wheel, this is manual adjustable. Now, as you enter into the Grand Cherokee L Laredo, your whole dashboard is in this kind of like a soft leather, hard leather, whatever you want to call it, but it's very, very soft. And I really like that rather than just putting plastic all over the place. So I really like how they did that. And then of course, you've got your speakers in both corners in the front and of course in the center. And one of my favorite parts about this vehicle is the 10.25 inch gauge cluster. It's fully digital, which is amazing because you can have different layouts of how you want to see your speed, and you can just go through different options, and it just looks really clean. And speaking of options, you can have different settings or different menus in front of you. If you want to have, you know, your speed in analog or whatever you want, you can have it. You can see your tire pressure and all of that stuff. So it's really nice that you have your full screen there, full digital screen to have whatever you need to in front of you. And as for the steering wheel, this is a fully leather steering wheel, and it is also heated, along with your front two seats, which are heated as well. And on the steering wheel at the bottom, you've got more of that kind of like a granite, smooth, shiny finish. To the left of your steering wheel, you've got controls for, of course, your digital gauge cluster. You can switch through different menus like I showed you. You've got your Bluetooth settings, and that little center button there, you can kind of have shortcuts, go back and forth whatever you need to, and go straight to that menu. And just like the rest of the Grand Cherokee L trim levels, you also get paddle shifters in this. They're nice and tiny, just hidden right behind there. And to the right of the steering wheel, you've got controls for your cruise control and then your adaptive cruise control and all of that, which is of course nice, and lots of safety features like I mentioned. To the left of the steering wheel, you've got controls for your high beams, turn signals, and all of that good stuff. And if you go over to the right of the steering wheel, you've got controls for your front and rear windshield wipers, windshield wiper fluid, and all of that stuff as well. And right behind the steering wheel, again, you've got that nice granite finish material along with your start stop button. As for the center handrest, this is fully leather, which is of course really nice. If you go ahead and open up the first section, you have a little bit of room to put, you know, small little items, a wallet, a phone. But if you go ahead and open up the main section, you have a little bit more of a deeper storage space to put a little bit bigger items. And looking at the center section here, you can see this beautiful gloss black trim that goes just everywhere. The only downside is it's going to be a finger magnet and a dust magnet, so you're gonna have to wipe this down constantly. As for your two cup holders in the front, those are illuminated at night, which is nice to have, and it just makes the vehicle feel more premium. Right in front of that, you have obviously your rotary dial for your gear selector. Now, typically, if you were at like a higher trim level, you would have your off-roading stuff like sport, mud, rock, and all of that, and your air suspension settings as well. And right above that, if you go ahead and open up that nice gloss black section, you're gonna have, like I mentioned, with this package, the luxury group package, your wireless charging pad right in there, and of course more USB ports, auxiliary ports, and another 12-volt adapter. Moving along, right above that, you've got your full section for your heating and cooling temperature controls that you can control from here, or the touchscreen, which I'll show you. Also from here, you can control your heated seats for both sides and your heated steering wheel. And right above that, you've got your very nice looking 8.4 inch touchscreen, which is just amazing. And of course, if you go on to the higher trim levels like the Summit, Overland, and all of that, you can get the 10.1 inch touchscreen. And because this is the new Uconnect 5 system, there's a lot of different things that you can do on this that you couldn't on the older system. For example, on this, you can go ahead into My Pages, and you can select the layout and add more pages and all of that stuff, so you can scroll through and have each section customized to your liking. If you go over to the media section, very typical, your AM, FM, Sirius XM, and because this is the Uconnect 5 system, you do have your wireless Apple CarPlay and Google Android. And next to that, you've got your comfort settings here. So like I mentioned, you can control your heating and cooling from here or from the touch buttons at the bottom, but I feel this is much more easier on the screen. And also, like I was mentioning, the rear climate, you can also control from the front here or at the back. Next to that, you've got your phone settings, so you can pair your phone and all of that good stuff. Moving over to the vehicle section, you've got access to your rear view camera. You can turn your screen off from here, and your third row headrest you can actually fold from here just from a touch of a button. And here is what the backup camera looks like. It's very traditional to any other vehicle. And if you want to go ahead and fine tune your vehicle even further, you can go ahead into settings right beside controls and just go through whatever you need to and set it to your liking. And finally, if you go into apps, you have a ton of different applications that you can kind of fine tune, customize, and all of that. And this one does have Alexa. One thing that I do find very convenient with this Uconnect 5 system is the top little section, the bar where it shows the time and all of that. Those are also touch buttons, which brings up little menus, like kind of shortcuts, which is really convenient. Right above your touchscreen, you've got more buttons. So starting from the left, you've got your auto stop start button. Right next to that, you've got your lane departure warning, traction control, your parking sensors to turn on and off, and then sport mode. Above all of that, you've got your dimmable rear view mirror, of course. And then if you move further up, you've got controls to open and close your rear tailgate, your interior dome lighting, assist, and SOS, and all of that good stuff. Now, this one does not have the power sunroof. However, you can get it as an option. As we make our way over to the passenger side, you can see more of that granite trim. It just looks really nice and it just pops out at you. As for the storage space in the glove department, you have a decent amount of room to put whatever you need to, and that's really it. And when it comes to what powers this Laredo, you can only get the Laredo in the V6 option. So this right here is the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 engine. You're going to be getting out of this 290 horsepower and 257 foot-pound of torque. In terms of towing, you can tow about 6,200 pounds when equipped properly. And here is what the window sticker looks like for the 2021 Grand Cherokee L Laredo. On the left, you can see obviously the color options for the exterior, engine, and all of that. And then you have your standard equipment. So you can see it has a ton of standard equipment that comes with it. And right underneath the right side, you do have your optional equipment. So like I mentioned, it has the luxury tech group, which gives you a ton of more options. And then your second row is the bench with the extra seat in the middle, or you can get the captain seats. And that's it for this 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Laredo. Like always, let me know in the comments down below if you love this or if you hate this.